that, you know. Undercover mission this. Yeah, man, yeah, you start. Alright, so yeah. So what a boom shot this, what a hit and not a miss. If a man want this, he will catch up in me fish. Snake in a grass, what is when him crisp. When a sexy guy look me a put this. Boom shot this, what a hit and not a miss. If a man want this, he will catch up in me fish. Snake in a grass, what is when him crisp. When a sexy guy look me a put this. At the card, so from somewhere me come out, we know we no come apart. The dude call me Colonel Corporal or Sarge. Me dep on a mission with me verb with barrage. No matter if I smart, no matter if I large. From when me come one, say sabotage. Say dep on a mission with me when we come apart. Say don't call we Colonel Corporal or Sarge. Me dep on a mission with me verb with barrage. La 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 sabotage. La 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 sabotage. So what we say? Come on.
The internet is buzzing after reports surfaced that Lashana Lynch will play 007 in Bond 25. Even though the studio hasn't confirmed anything just yet, the 31-year-old could make history as the first black and first female star to take the iconic codename. As we wait for official confirmation, here are 6 things to know about the actress. She's not a newbie to acting. Lashana has had many gigs on both the big and small screen. Her acting resume includes roles in Captain Marvel, Bulletproof, the comedy series Crims, and ABC's Still Star-Crossed. Before earning a spot in the Marvel Universe as fighter pilot Maria Rambo, the actress previously auditioned for other action films, Black Panther and Spider-Man Homecoming. According to reports, they didn't pan out, but she landed her Captain Marvel role just days after a test with Brie Larson, so clearly she's a badass. Her accent is legit too. Lynch, who was born in the UK and has Jamaican descent, is proud to be a London girl. When it comes to keeping up with her fitness, Lashana is on top of her game. If you check out her Instagram, you'll see her do everything from break a sweat at a gym or showing off some killer kickbox moves. Let's be real, she's already proven she has what it takes to star in the Bond films. Acting wasn't her first passion. Lynch has admitted in the past that she got into acting thanks to her singing teacher, who told her that the two go hand in hand. We're guessing she has no doubts about that. The star is active on both Twitter and IG and tends to post behind-the-scenes photos from her big and small screen projects, like this recent shot from her makeup chair.
So what's going on, guys? Now, before I even begin to get started on this lunacy that you just witnessed, first I have a few announcements to make. I am from here on out, starting today, making the hashtag Marlboro Man movement an official entity of the Brian Too Bad TV Solange show, both with the new header on my Patreon.com channel, over on patreon.com/Brian Too Bad TV Solange. I changed the header after creating this logo, which will also be a part of one of the next Patreon audio blogs that I have produced for this month of July. So make sure you're signed up over here on Patreon to go check that out. I go into detail about what a Marlboro Man is and what inspired me to begin that movement. Some of you already know, but if you don't know, you soon will know. So yeah, make sure you're signed up to Patreon if you haven't already. Also, in addition to that, speaking of Patreon, I didn't want to have to do it, but this may come as welcome news to some of you who are already and have been for a while now paid patron members over on Brian Blogs Corner Club on patreon.com. I have once and for all put an end to the stealing of content, the dine and dash motherfuckers that sign up to view my content when it's something that tickles their fancy, and then they disappear come payday And you see them do the same thing here on ScrewTube when it's some title that has clout chasing potential, and then the next thing you know, they're commenting on the videos, viewing the videos. But when it's a video that isn't about anything ratchet or a bed wench, they're nowhere to be found. So I selected the option to finally start charging people up front, which means all new patron members will be charged the $7 fee per month up front the moment that they sign up, and then will be charged subsequently at the first of every month following that. So if you sign up today, you will get to see my awesome content. Again, I promise 4 audio blogs per month. And then on the 1st of August, you will also be charged for the monthly fee, which I think is more than fair, because I did try to trust you niggas and, just didn't work out. I should have known what I was dealing with in the first place. But you will be getting your money's worth, as promised, because as I said, and as a lot of you know, most people who have Patreon, most black YouTubers who have Patreon channels, they don't really even produce content on them. I'm actually, in addition to producing content on ScrewTube and Black Avenger and BitChute, I'm also producing content with consistency for you on patreon.com. In addition to that, speaking of Patreon, just one other thing. I'd like to sincerely apologize to those of you who are already signed up paid patron members for the blog that I released on Isola Curry that was specifically entitled "How a Black Woman Almost Assassinated the Black Messiah, Martin Luther King Jr., Analyzing the Life of Isola Curry." Recently, there have been some glitchy problems with Patreon where it doesn't recognize MP3 audio format that is recorded directly off of Android phones, which I have. So what I have to do is I have to take the fucking MP3 and I have to put it through a online converter or a converter app that converts it to MP3, but it converts it, in a certain format that Patreon could recognize. So that blog that I put up, the audio wasn't showing to the viewing public. It wasn't even showing to me. So I literally had to go back on that and the other 3 blogs and convert MP3 to MP3. Don't ask. I don't know why. But anyway, it works now. And just to prove that it works for any of you who were wondering what was going on, I just give you a little example. Make sure that you know that it works. If ever there was a poster child example in history of the Black American female collective being the enemy of the black man and co-conspirator with the white-dominated society and controlled power structure, it was the peculiar story of the first assassination attempt on the life of Martin Luther King Jr. by Isola Curry in New York City on September 20th, 1958. Okay, that's all you get, because that's for paying members only. But I just want to prove to you guys, I deleted that post from July 14th. I re-edited it with the reformatted MP3, and there must be like 2 different versions of MP3. I don't know. I'm not a tech expert, but for some reason it was in MP3. It didn't work when I recorded it on my audio record app on the phone, but when I put it through the converter, it works fine. So now you guys can view that. Since I know a lot of niggas are too lazy to read anyway, you can listen to it on audio. You're paying for it. Go ahead, knock yourself out. And the other 3 audio blogs will be the same way. Converted MP3 to MP3 audio, and you shouldn't have a problem with that. Now, let's get back to the issue at hand, shall we? Now, how do I even begin this video? Well, I will say this. And if you think your eyes and ears are playing tricks on you from the video I played earlier or from this screenshot, no, they're not. The people who make the James Bond films, at least recently, in recent times, have decided that they are going to retire James Bond and give a black female the role of 007. Now, I think it's being, on one side, I think it's being a little bit overblown by the press, because what there are indications of is that Daniel Craig, who's played James Bond for the last damn near decade, he's played James Bond for the last decade, since Casino Royale in 2006, actually more than a decade. In my opinion, he's been the best James Bond since Sean Connery, and I think he's done the most amount of films since Sean Connery. Well, no, Pierce Brosnan, he did a lot of films too. But anyway, Daniel Craig, from what I'm understanding, is the new James Bond is going to be set in Jamaica, and it's going to be of Daniel Craig's character, who's still going to be James Bond. He's playing a retired agent that actually quit Majesty's Intelligence, MI6. That's their version of the American CIA over there in Great Britain. But he's still going to be James Bond. So he's not going to be 007 anymore, but he's still going to be the lead character in the movie. Basically, he's going to be doing 007 shit as a retired ex 00 agent. Okay? So what I think is actually probably going to happen, when I mean that this is overblown, is it's probably going to be, kind of like a skit where James Bond meets the agent that took his place, and either she's not going to play a major role, or if she does, she's going to be playing like tag along behind him, because it's set in Jamaica. This woman playing James Bond, named Lashana Lynch, she is British Jamaican. She's actually from the UK, but she was born in Jamaica. And since the film is set in Jamaica, I doubt that they're going to actually have her literally take over for the James Bond franchise. I think that this is like just a little short skit that they're doing specifically for this movie, since it's set in Jamaica, with James Bond being a retired 00 agent. But I did want to take the time, whether or not this is bigger than it appears to be or not, because as you may have seen in some of the comment sections, and a few brothers, I know Tommy Sotomayor has made a video about this, a lot of people that are fans of the James Bond franchise are pretty pissed off. And it's not just racist white men. There's a lot of people who thought that Idris Elba or Tom Hardy were going to get the part. There was a lot of talk about Idris Elba being the next James Bond. There was a lot of push from even white men who were fans of the James Bond franchise for Idris Elba to play the next James Bond. I mean, he's a brother that's really made his way as a British actor in Hollywood. He has that British accent, British born, handsome brother. I mean, everything, his not only his physique, but the way he comes across on screen. A lot of people were thinking he would be perfect, but to be the next James Bond. But the mere fact that somebody put it out there that they would skip over black men to choose a black woman as the next 007. Okay? And, you know, as crazy as things are nowadays, you know, I could be incorrect in my assumptions that she's just going to play a small, you know, little skit role. They could, as crazy as stuff is nowadays, even though, you know, James Bond is a predominantly male role, you know, she could take over. The next thing you know, they'll actually be calling her James Bond, because we live in a environment that is overwrought, overrun with this pro-feminist hashtag Me Too, Black Lives Matter bullshit reality that, you know, women should be able to not only do everything that men do, I don't have a problem with that, but they should be able to take over anything that is specifically for men. Which is ironic, because I wanted to take this time to share something else with you guys that is loosely connected to this issue of black male actors, prominent black male actors like Don Cheadle, Denzel Washington, and Idris Elba being passed up for the James Bond role for, you know, some, I'm just going to be honest, some dyke looking black female. And that is, and see, this is where black men really need to pay attention. Because one of the things that y'all don't do is, besides just being all out trifling, you don't pay attention. Okay? As you know, I did a live stream not too long ago. What was it? Just a few days ago. I did a live stream concerning the issue with Black Avenger not getting the amount of traffic and overall financial support that it should be at, you know, as having been on the scene for over a year now. And one of the main things that I stabbed at in that live stream at the very beginning, if you remember, that was the first, you know, half an hour to an hour of the stream. I said, black men do not support black men. Even when black men, now see, don't get me wrong. Don't misunderstand what I'm trying to say. If black men are just opening up a business, you know, in general, to cater to anyone in general, that's one thing. You know, you're not expected to go there and shop there or do business with that black man just because he has a business. That's not what I'm talking about. Black Avenger TV, the original mission statement that we wanted it to be about was, you know, when I first came up with this idea of a video sharing platform before I partnered with the brother that actually created the Black Avenger franchise, okay? My idea was to have a video sharing platform free of censorship, free of trolls, you know, free of agents, that was specifically there for the freedom of speech and expression of black men. And that's what we have today, okay? And something that not only caters to black men, but is specifically being reserved for black men. You understand that the owner and owner-operator of that site is specifically kicking people off and refusing them entry because you have to be manually accepted by the administrator before you can have an account there. He's not letting certain people on that are not, you know, known black men in the black manosphere. We are reserving Black Avenger TV for black men, and yet still black men are not coming there in a significant amount of, you know, numbers and supporting it, either, you know, neither through traffic nor, you know, funding it. And the brother did share with me that he had lost a significant amount of money when, you know, in 2018 hosting this site. Because another thing niggas don't understand is this stuff doesn't just pop up like magic. It takes money to run Black Avenger, just like it takes money to do anything. Okay? He has to pay for the server space. He has to pay for, the security. He has to pay for, the hosting, all of that. All of that is coming out of his pocket. Okay? And, he has a Patreon and a PayPal that he has set up. And you can see those links right here. I told him that I was gonna start posting the links for Patreon and PayPal that are specifically for Black Avenger TV in the description box of all of my videos, along with my Patreon, PayPal, and links to my other social media platforms. But even in spite of the fact that he has this stuff set up, to help him with the funding for this site for Black men, as he put it, Black men simply aren't putting their money where their mouth is. Okay, and let me click on this to give you guys a little bit of a visual of what the Black Avenger Patreon website looks like as we talk about this. So even though there are hundreds of people now, hundreds of Black men on Patreon, hundreds of Black men on Black Avenger TV, the Black Avenger franchise's not personal, but business Patreon that's specifically there for crowdfunding the Black Avenger website only has 36 patrons. And when you compare that to mine, okay, I have 25 patrons. So this big old website that's been up for over a year only has 11 more patrons than me. And keep in mind, just a couple of months ago, I had up to 35 patrons, most of which left because they were dying and dash motherfuckers. They just wanted to see the article that I did about Black women and ghetto gaggers. As soon as they saw that, they were gone. But if I had have kept those 35 patrons, then Black Avenger would only be one. It would only be one patron below what I had at the time. Okay. And considering that this is a website specifically geared towards giving Black men their freedom of speech and expression, the first ever Black male owned and fully operated site, video sharing site for specifically Black men, okay, it should have 5 to 10 times more patrons than me. And I can lose my pride enough to be able to say that right here, right now. Okay. So this tells me that Black men are not serious about Black social media, Black male social media. Okay. We've been over, about the niggas on Reg the Bad Guy's live stream, bad mouthing Black Avenger, lying about it being blacklisted, which is nothing but a goddamn lie. We've seen the low traffic numbers, the low funding numbers. This is unacceptable. Now, you will never hear me pushing this hard for people to pay me personally, although I do appreciate my PayPal donors and my paid patron members. But you will hear me pushing this hard for, to back up what we're trying to do on Black Avenger TV. Because this is not just to benefit us content creators. It's to benefit y'all too. But a lot of niggas don't understand that. So how does this connect to this Lashana Lynch travesty that we got news of yesterday? How does this connect to this female that looks like a lesbian that is about to take over the 007 role? And as crazy as things are, I don't think so, but she may very well, especially since I think she's a dyke, she may very well take over the role as James Bond. And the fact that these white people in Hollywood that, or as y'all call Hollyweird, intentionally skipped over leading Black male actors in Hollywood, including Idris Elba, who everybody wanted to play a strong Black woman, for a strong Black woman to play this role. What this indicates to us is that the world as a collective, it's like David Carroll said, we are the laughing stock of civilization. It says that they see Black women more as men than they see us. And why? For the same reason why I heard through a little birdie and I'm not going to name names, but some of y'all may have heard this through a little birdie too, or maybe you heard it on the grapevine, that there are certain content creators on ScrewTube that are of the opinion that we should not only allow black women onto the Black Avenger platform, but that we should also allow them to be the financial pillar, the financial support beam, if you will, the literal monetary backbone of Black Avenger TV, meaning let them on and literally allow them to become shareholders on the website through their donations and subscriptions. And why has this blasphemous idea been suggested? Because we can't get enough black male support. And yet again, somebody wants to hijack something that black men are trying to do for black men, which overall will benefit not only the black male collective, but the black community, the black online community and offline community as a whole, by seeing black men as leaders, by seeing black men actually doing something for themselves. They want to hijack that and turn it into another Renaissance woman, Nyla says, shit show, which is exactly what it would become if an overriding majority of the shareholders, meaning donors and subscribers, were to be black females. It's because you Negroes do not take Black Avenger or anything else serious any more than these people who decided that a black lesbo-looking Jamaican female take black men serious. It's actually, in a way, this entire thing of selecting a black British Caribbean female to play a role that has been dominated by men. It's almost indicative of what I said about, Halle Berry winning an Academy Award for playing Billy Bob Thornton's penis holster in Monsters Ball. Okay? What they're really saying by doing this is, we know that it's a male dominant, we know that James Bond 007 is a male dominant role. We don't see you black men as actual men. We see black women more as men than we see you. And the shit issues that we are having that we shouldn't be having, because nobody else has these problems, black women included, because just like the white boys support Stormfront, black women support through donations Lipstick Alley and Madame Noir and all those other pro-black femitard websites. We can't get black men to even take shit serious that is by black men for black men, to the point where somebody wants black women to take over. And just as unbelievable as you might think that is, if you wonder why shit like that and this situation with a black female playing 007 is, what I just explained in this video is exactly, precisely why shit like this happens. Talk to you later, guys.